Hello, my name is Fred Speck. I'm the Director of Bands at the University of Louisville, and today with me I have musicians who are members of the University of Louisville Wind Symphony. We're going to be using some examples from the music of Frank Ticheli in order to share a concept of foreground, middle ground, and background depth perspective, if you will, in dynamics that allow all the voices of the score to be heard by the listener. Often the challenge is that within a given dynamic, that players don't recognize their role. You'll hear that the players recognize their role, which means that some players will play a middle ground dynamic of piano because they know they're in the middle ground, which will be about 30% less in volume than if they were a foreground player. If they're a background player, they'll take that more literally and put their sound in the background, reducing the dynamic somewhat. Not reducing the intensity at times of the sound, but creating that space so that ideally then the listener gets the benefit of hearing really all of what is in the score. We can blot our sound out as an ensemble by playing a literal and same dynamic, whether it's piano or whether it's fortissimo. So that idea of foreground, middle ground, background will always work for us in creating a better, clearer rendition of the score. This is from the second movement of Frank Ticheli's new piece, Korean Folk Songs from Jeju Island, and it's a quiet passage that has a uniquely powerful trumpet and brass chorale that begins to speak out of it. 36. Thank you. As you listen to that excerpt, you couldn't help but notice that sort of uniquely harmonized trumpet scoring that rose through the crescendo, that in fact made the crescendo because we heard the color and we heard the harmony. Frank composed a crescendo as long as the listener can really hear the trumpet choir. The upper woodwinds really had to have a sort of self-discipline about their dynamic. They were not playing literal dynamics, yet you could hear them with ease, and at the same time have a stronger response to the crescendo because we could hear how it's composed in the trumpet section. Great work. We have two very bold examples of his writing from the third and final movement, Celebration on Hala Mountain, and we'll begin at measure 88. At this spot and on through the excerpt, there are passages where the brass choir should sound vivid and clear in a strong forte way, but there are terrific woodwind lines, 16th note woodwind lines, that if we all were to play at the same dynamic level as written on the page and be literalists about it, the woodwind lines would be covered, and it would be one of those occasions of seeing the fingers move but wondering what that would sound like. We would rather create the illusion, so we'll try to do that at this point, starting at measure 88. There's one other section that comes along a little bit later, and it might be an even bigger challenge with cascading, descending woodwind lines at the same time that there is to be a very vivid thematic statement in the brass. So the brass players need to remember that forte isn't created by decibel, but is created by energy, is created by the use of articulation and space between tones at times, so that the listener in the audience is absolutely exhilarated by the brass section and at the same time is able to hear and follow all of the fantastic woodwind writing. This is measure 112. It takes us pretty close to the end of the piece. Again, Korean Folk Songs from Jeju Island, terrific new piece by Frank Ticheli. thank you very much. We've enjoyed presenting to you our ideas about how to create the best illusion of the score by not being literalists with the dynamics, but understanding roles and the right amount of sound in foreground, middle ground, and background playing.